Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to do a look using e.l.f.'s Bite Size Jalapeno palette. This palette is one of 5 that I got from e.l.f. and you saw in my last video we did 2 demos one using cream and sugar, the other using rose water. I gave you my thoughts on that, did some swatches and compared those shadows against luxury brand names like Natasha, Denona. So today we're going to do something quite similar. We're going to do swatches with this palette and then try to find similar shades from Viseart, Natasha, Denona, and maybe even Pat McGrath to do a comparison swatch with. So why don't we get started with this palette here. Before I move on, I do want to say on the back of these palettes you have ingredients, the name of the palette itself because it's actually not printed on the packaging anywhere else, and it also says this palette delivers mini eye magic in a perfect size. The Luxe formula is a creamy, blendable, and ultra pigmented. So I wanted to comment on that as well now that I've gotten a chance to play with it, see how easy it is to work with these shadows, blend, and create a look out of it. I'll give those thoughts at the very end after the tutorial. So going with the swatches first, here's what they look like on my finger. You've got 2 of the metallic shades here, that deep kind of teal-like green and this sort of forest green here. This is the matte forest green, the green metallic shade, the gold metallic shade, and the deep kind of teal matte green. Looking at these swatches and comparing them to rose water and cream and sugar that I did in my other video, I would say this deep matte green here swatched much better than the deep matte shades on those other 2 palettes. The metallics are very similar to the other ones as well. They're creamy and they swatched really well. You'll see here on my eyes too, I think they blended really nicely. What was interesting is this lighter matte shade here, that forest green. This one turned out patchier than I expected. So when I did one swatch here, it didn't go very smooth. It started getting patchy close to the beginning and it kind of tapered off, you know, not too badly here, but that was kind of unexpected. I would say when I put it on my eye, this wasn't really noticeable, but if you watched through the demo, you would have noticed that I did lay this metallic shade all over the lid first and then added this matte shade. So maybe that had something to do with the blendability, since there was kind of like a nice creamy base underneath it. So those are the swatches of the e.l.f. palette. I'm going to go ahead and find some similar shades from the luxury brands that I collect and do some comparisons. From looking within my luxury collection, I don't have any shades that are exact or even very close matches to what is on the e.l.f. palette. So I just found the closest I could to do this comparison. First, we're going to look at the matte greens. I have here Viseart's 04 Dark Matte, as well as the number 8, also from Viseart. This is the Editorial Brights. So from the Editorial Brights, I think the closest green we have to this green here is going to be this one. So let me swatch that and then put it right next to this matte shade. So you can see here, I think the Viseart puts down a lot more pigment to begin with. And as I go in with my finger to sort of blend the color out, you can see it's blending evenly. And if I go in with a second application, it's gonna be able to, I'm gonna be able to pack on that color more and to even it out. I'm really not sure about this matte shade here. Let's use this finger here to try to move and blend this color. I think it blends okay. I think you can also add more color to pack it on. This definitely blended better than the darker shades from Cream and Sugar and Rosewater e.l.f. palettes that I did in my other video. Now with the deeper green matte shade, the closest I have is this one here. So let's swatch this and place it next to the e.l.f. shade. So interestingly, I think there's something maybe with green, dark green matte shades that they don't really swatch all that nicely, but very blendable, which is my experience with their shades. And again, you can use it to pack on that color. Now, if I go in to try to blend, might be a little bit tougher. This blending, when I'm seeing the color diffuse, but a lot of it coming on to my finger, is just very similar to how the dark mattes from the other e.l.f. palettes tend to blend. Let's move on to the metallics. For the metallic shades, I don't have anything that is an exact match or even very, very close. This gold here from the e.l.f. palette has a green undertone to it, which makes it a nice match with the rest of the colors. So I try to look for palettes that, you know, might have some green or blue shadows in its color story, in the palette's color story, that might hint at some green or at least cooler gold shades. What I have here is Pat McGrath's Nocturnal Nirvana, and we're gonna swatch incandescent gold to get a comparison against the gold from e.l.f. So this is incandescent gold. Again, they're not going to be the same in tone. I think they swatch very similarly in how smooth it is. The intensity and pigmentation, I would say, is there with the gold from the e.l.f. palette. The next gold I'd like to use to compare to is from Natasha Denona's gold palette. On the gold palette, there's actually two shades here that have some obvious green to it, but both of these are not truly metallic finishes. They're not the creamy, buttery metallic finishes. This one has a very glittery finish, and it's actually a dual chrome. And this one here is a pretty sheer shade, and it definitely is more of a lid topper because of its glittery finish. So we're actually going to use Oro. And again, this gold is not cool, unlike the one on the e.l.f. palette, but I figure it's a good creamy metallic gold to compare against. You can see it's much warmer next to this gold. I would say, I think color payoff, Oro is stronger than this shade here from e.l.f. But overall, I think the gold is good quality from e.l.f. It's easy to work with, easy to blend. You can put that all over your lid and just blend it out, add some maybe darker colors to give you definition. But yeah, I think this gold here is really pretty good. The mattes kind of leave something to desire for, but again, it could be the actual color itself, the shade itself, that makes the formula difficult to perfect in that way. So let's head on to the tutorial. I will see you guys after. We're gonna first take this metallic green shade here, put it all over the lid, including the crease. And then we're adding this matte green shade here to the lid, starting in the center and moving that towards the outer corners. And I'm actually working this color to the center of the lid from the bottom up. We're then going to take this deeper green shade here that's almost like a teal, has some blue in it, and we're going to line the upper lash line with it and kind of smudge it to give this whole lower part a bit more definition. And I'm going to blend out this color into the crease a little bit more, that lighter matte shade from earlier. Then this gold metallic shade here, we're gonna apply that as a lid topper. I'm going to put on foundation, concealer, then we'll come back for the rest. Now taking a closer look, I would prefer to add another light but deeper matte shade than this metallic green up here, just to give it more dimension and more interest, but there's really nothing on the palette that I could use for that. So what I'm going to do is I will try to create that using this gold and this matte shade here. So I'm going to do that, get rid of the excess, dab it in here, see what kind of color I may get, and I'm going to add that very specifically to the crease. And I think we got a little bit more dimension out of it, so it's good. I think this looks a bit better. Okay, we'll go ahead and do that to the other side. And I'm going really light-handed here because I don't know what the shade would look like on my eyelid, and I'm just going light-handed because if I need to go in and correct it, I could without having to do too much work to remove any excess. And then finally, we're gonna go back to this gold metallic shade here and add that to the brow bone. For under the eyes, I'm going to add this gold shade here, just as a under eye highlight. And it just kind of brightens everything up. I could go in with any of the matte shades to add under eye definition, but I think we will leave it like this today. If you want to, you can go ahead, you can either tight line or you could blend any of the matte shades into this gold if you'd prefer. We're gonna add some eyeliner to the upper lash line. So you see me sometimes like looking over here because my vanity table is over here, and just now I was trying to get the liquid eyeliner. This is what I see. I cannot tell which one is the black liquid eyeliner from the cap because I have all of this in a sleeve to the side. But now that I have all four of them, this is obviously the liquid eyeliner. I just can't tell when it's not looking at the full thing. And this is actually Pat McGrath's, let me see, their liquid eyeliner, was it Sublime Fetish eyeliner? This is the finished look. Jalapeno is my favorite out of the 3 palettes so far, and I put this top on today thinking it'd be, you know, a good match. Turns out it was, and it probably matched better than I thought it would because this is a very comfortable look that you could wear out. You know, it's not too green, it's not, it's pigmented just right, and the shades are chosen just right so that you can wear this out. It doesn't always have to be a special occasion. It's definitely a nice color story meant for every day as well. If you like green eyeshadow looks, I did another one around St. Patty's Day this year. I will link it above so you can go check it out if you're interested. So this was fun, enjoyed the look, and this was a nice surprise. In terms of overall quality, I mentioned a few times already that it's better out of the three. So ultimately, how does it compare to the luxury brands, Natasha, Denona, and Viseart? I would say the matte shadows do leave something more to be desired. I do think Viseart has the better matte eyeshadow formula overall. It seems to me maybe green eyeshadows are a bit tough to get the shades to just blend as nicely as browns or other colors. So for that, I think it's pretty good what we already have from this palette. Again, it's $3 US, really, really great value. And both the metallic shades are excellent. This gold here especially, I think, is comparable in its color payoff and how creamy it is next to the luxury brands like Pat McGrath and Natasha Denona. This other green metallic here, I don't have anything that is remotely even comparable to it. So that's why you didn't see me do any comparison swatches. But I do think it's easy to work with for a metallic shade, and you do get a nice bit of green from it. That is the shade that I have all over my lid that gave it a nice green base for the rest of the shadows to kind of be layered on top of. So there you have it. Well, I will have more e.l.f. videos coming up, so if you're interested in any of the 5 palettes that I mentioned and you want to see that sooner, let me know below. I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.